All right, let's go. Find your seats. They won't be back until they finish their concert. One more time.
Do they get out of this work too?
They're gonna have to test tomorrow, so. I'm gonna go in during student advisement. I'll make that.
If Aiden's late, he was walking with the dean down there.
Welcome back, Sierra. All right. Packets. Riley said, "Are you going to collect them?" And I said, "Yes." But the reality is, I'm not going to collect them. But we are going to go over any questions. You guys are supposed to do all the either ones.
I didn't.
Which is why you sent me that thing and we talked about the thing. Okay. I'm gonna point this out, Roland. The test is tomorrow on this stuff. So I'd love for you to come to tutoring on Wednesday, but I'm just saying the test is tomorrow.
So should I come tonight?
Can you?
Probably. From all class to mom.
Okay. All right. Either one. By the way, this stuff will be on the semester final as well too. So either day works. All right. Hey, no joke. Test is tomorrow. I've specifically selected easy questions. Now, granted, I'm the math teacher; they're all easy. But I'm saying I did not select the hardest. Hey, the ones where there's quadratics and you got to factor everything. There are a couple quadratics that separates A's from B's. But for the rest of the people in here, they're like, hey, this was a really butt kicker of a chapter, right? And I'm still not 100% confident that I'm where I need to be. I'm going to give you easy questions. But if you don't know what to do, well, obviously you're not going to have a chance. But I am selecting the less challenging problems to evaluate you, test you on. Show me you know how to abstract, multiply, and divide with. Why are you yelling? Why are you yelling? You're still talking. Stop. I'll go ahead and take a second. Hey, when you walk into a classroom, anyone's classroom, and the teacher is talking, and you immediately start announcing to the world something, that is, stop. That is rude. You don't do that. At some point, you guys are going to get a job, right? Unless you own the business yourself, you don't walk into your boss's office and immediately start talking over them. You don't ever do that, ever. Unless it's I quit, feel free to, right? I did that one time. But you don't, we live in a society, there's no laws of how you treat people, right? Other than the legal ones, right? But that we have norms of how you act in society. One of the norms is that you don't walk into a classroom and talk over the teacher while they're talking. The teacher's pause, you're like, excuse me, perfectly fine, right? It's not that I'm mad. I'm just saying, you got to learn this stuff, right? You got 2 years left. In 2 years, you're an adult, right? Or 2.5 years. You're an adult, and there's no time left to teach you this stuff. When you're an adult and you screw up, guess what happens? There's permanent consequences. Why do you think people? No, we're not going to go that extreme, but that's true, right? When you screw up as an adult, it's permanent. There's no, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just a kid. Oh wait, I'm not a kid, I'm an adult. You screw up, that's it. There's no second chance. That sort of stuff. You only get one chance of doing it right. Let's do it right. So if you have not learned the norms of behavior, by the time that you're 18, it's kind of like, well, why does a kid never get a job? Well, because they run into the place asking for a job and they're not acting like the boss wants you to act. Right? Everything from we've tried to have a different school where we try to teach some of these things, like you look people in the eye, shake their hands, things like that. The things that we society expects from you, we try to enforce you. I mean, silly things like, okay, does it really make any difference whether you have your shirt tucked in? I mean, truly to learn that.
No.
It doesn't, right? So why am I making you tuck your shirt in?
Because dress code.
it's so, and okay, I hate wearing ties. I'm forced to wear a tie. I would not wear a tie unless I was forced to.
Really?
This is my shirt tucking thing, analogy here. Is that I don't like wearing ties, but hey, if I want to be a teacher, I gotta wear a tie, so I wear a tie. I do disagree with it, right? I don't think it's gonna make me a better math teacher. I'd wear a jacket, a coat jacket, right? Suit type thing. I would much rather wear that than a tie, and I would, right? But they said no, so okay, well then I don't do it, right? I've talked to you before, like driving on the state highway. I mean, there's no car around me. Why can't I drive 90? Why? The only person in danger of doing it in a danger is myself. I mean, and that might be arguable. Well, it's the law.
There might be cops like.
Well, I mean, that's the incentive. But I'm saying let's just ignore that fact and just say, why can't? Well, it's the law, right? We live in a society that we've agreed as a civilization that we're going to have laws. Now, I have free will. I can certainly say, to heck with that, I'm driving 90, and I will accept those consequences, right? And that's free will. But why do I never do that? Well, because I accept it's the rule. I'm going to follow the rules, okay? So I'm not ever saying you have to agree that you like this stuff. I should be able to yell out and scream anytime I want, hey, First Amendment rights, right? Clearly, I am violating your First Amendment rights when I say stop talking, right? Yeah. Right? That is your First Amendment right. The reason why his behavior is good right now is because he is accepting the fact that, okay, I do have a First Amendment right, which I will never deny, but I'm going to, agree to the social norm of when the teacher's talking, I'll be quiet.
Social norm.
Right? And it is a social norm, right? It's also, I'll go really off base. It's a social norm that we wear clothes, right? I mean, if I turn the heat up, nobody needs to wear clothes, but thank God we have as a social norm, right? There, I went to a very, very large street. What? Wait, this is a math class. Well, is it math? Because I've gotten us off on a tangent here.
Can you wear a bow tie? Oh, yeah.
No, I could, but I'm not going to. I do have some pictures of a little boy wearing a bow tie, and that's it. Oh, in the Army, that is the official, there's tie and bow tie. So in the Army, your quote, your semi-formal attire is a tie, and your formal attire is a bow tie. So I wore a bow tie probably, 20 times in my life. And it looks good in that uniform, but the regular bow tie or the ones that are colored, that's a little bit too straight. We're colorblind too, so all right. Here's what we're doing today. Well, no, we're not going to do that because that was the thing, but I did want to open it up to any specific questions. No specific questions on that worksheet. All right. Here's our schedule. I do need to make this address to the e-learners out there. Hey, if you are an e-learner and you're listening to this right now, or you're listening to this when you on the recording, if you do not take your test on the day that it is scheduled, you get a 0. You guys will all be here, right? But for my e-learners, if you choose, let's see, we are period 5. So your math test is on Wednesday. If you don't take your math test on Wednesday, it's an automatic 0. All our other assignments, you have the option of doing it a day late because you're watching it. These will not be a day late. We will post them on the day that they're done. I'll post the math test, say, by 7 o'clock in the morning to take your test. If you run into a computer problem, computer crashes, or you can't open something up, or your internet just keeps going in and out, something like that, which has happened, that's fine. You got to physically call the school front desk and say, hey, I'm so-and-so. I'm trying to take my math final. My internet is down. I can't do it. Perfectly fine. We'll cut you some grace. The second thing is, and this is for everyone, e-learners, if you miss a final, right, because your internet was down, or you had an orthodontist meeting or something like that, appointment, the makeup day is on Friday. If you're really something really seriously happens, you're out Monday through Thursday, you're not going to take 5 finals on Friday. We'll work something else out. But if you miss one of them, yeah, we're taking it on Friday. Miss 2 of them, you're taking it on Friday. If you didn't finish one because you had an appointment, you're finishing it on Friday. Just be ready for that. All right, questions? I know I've said this multiple times. I got to say it just so we don't forget it.
Julie's not using that question.
Cool. All right, chapter test is tomorrow. Like, no joke, it is tomorrow. Hey, I'm going to hand you a copy of the practice test. As always, what you see in front of you will be what you see tomorrow. The only difference is I'll change the numbers around slightly. Every question you see on the review will be on the test, a type of question, right?
Okay.
I forget how many I put on the review, but I typically put more on the review than there is on the test, just so you have more practice. Don't kid yourself. Nothing's going to change between today, what you see on the review sheet, and tomorrow. So if you're looking at your review sheet like, I can't do any of these, we got big problems, right? If it's, obviously that's not the case, right? There's most of the stuff you can do. But for the ones that you're struggling on, if it's the adding, subtracting, then you need to take what's on the practice test and put it on your resource card with notes to yourself, not me, like me telling you what to do, you telling yourself what to do. Hey, this is where I got to get common denominators. Then multiply top and bottom by, whatever words you want to use to help you get to the answer. We got this entire period for you to look over the practice test. Like, oh, those multiplication ones, those are the easy ones. Oh, those division, those are it's the adding, subtracting. I'm kind of putting a bug in your ear here. Those are the ones that give me issues. Then that's the one that I would like you to spend the most time on today and ask me as many questions as you want, right? Tell me what I'm doing wrong here. What am I supposed to be doing here? Yesterday I had someone in for tutoring, and I'm just saying, that person that I had in for tutoring yesterday, they got everything right. Everything right in the sense of they knew what to do, they knew how to do it. Okay, there's too many steps for adding, subtracting. If you make a mistake, like 1 times 4, and for some reason you're thinking 1 plus 4, and you put that 5 down instead of a 4, it's going to throw everything off. And you're not going to get to the answer. You're like, wait, I'm not getting the right answer here. Even though you're doing everything correctly, one little tiny mistake. So don't get down on yourself if you're not getting the right answer when you match it to my answer sheet. Get mad at yourself if you don't know what you're doing. I don't know what to do for division. What am I supposed to do? Copy that flip, right? Make sure that you are, aware of what you know what you're doing. This is the note what you're getting wrong here. And what you're doing right. The stuff you're getting right, you're not going to forget it between now and then because it's ingrained in your head. The stuff that you're getting wrong, and once you identify what you're getting wrong, if it's still a math mistake, well then that's not the issue. But the issue is more the ones that you don't have a clue on. Okay, that's what I want you to spend the most time on. So when I hand this out here in a second, I want you to look over the whole thing first before you try the first one. Look it over, you're like, oh wow, this isn't that bad. I know how to do all that stuff. All right. If that's the case, then do as many as you need to do until you're comfortable. All right. I'm not saying this is the hardest test. It's the hardest material. When I look at it, I think I'm giving you a pretty easy test. Right. I'm trying to boost the confidence of those who are worried about this test. I'm saying I'm giving you a pretty easy test on the material that is the hardest in the book. It is the hardest material in the book. Right. The rest of the stuff for the rest of the year doesn't get easy, but it certainly isn't as challenging as the stuff we're doing right now. Yes, Tristan.
Pass out and pick up.
I said I wasn't going to collect, right? Because it's a worksheet and I already have the answers. If you were foolish enough, Landon, if you were foolish enough not to do the worksheet, then you didn't get the practice on this stuff, and it will come out tomorrow when I grade the test. All right, go ahead and grab it.
I'll get them back to you.
All right, use your time wisely. Rowan, I would suggest that you move away from where you're seated right now so that you can concentrate. Right? And this corner right here, Josie will put her head down and she will concentrate and she'll get things done really fast, and then you'll turn into a nightmare because all you're doing is bothering people around you. Right? Let them have the ability. Sierra, you're the same way, right? You put your head down, you do it really quick, but you're not like Joe. You won't finish the whole thing. You'll do like a couple of them, and then you'll get distracted.
Because then I'll know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm saying. So I'm saying let's do the whole worksheet, and then if you can get that, then I'll at least be happy that you've improved. That's what will happen tomorrow if you don't study.
That's what you want.
I had that painted to me by a 10th grader. And I didn't even request it. He just said, hey, Mr. C, use this every time now to talk to your students.
Oh, we're hanging this up right here.
Yeah.
My brain is.
What? Oh, yes, good question. I did want to review that real quick. Okay, everybody look at questions 1 through, is it 8? Okay, everybody stop what you're doing, look at questions 1 through 8. Questions 1 through 8 say basically simplify and show the excluded values. Remember, are you paying attention? Excluded values, the only place you need to look is the denominator, not the common denominator, the denominator itself. So for question number 1, what's in the denominator?
0.
What's in the denominator?
60.
60 mn. That's what you set equal to 0 and you solve. So, oh, just m. So basically m cannot be what? M cannot be 0. If m is 0, 60 times 0 is 0. You're finding what would turn the whole thing into a 0. Well, if m was 0. Look on question number 5. What's in the denominator?
N minus 2.
N minus 2. What could n be to turn it into a 0?
0.
If n is 0, 0 minus 2 is negative 2. So, but if n was 2, basically all I'm doing is I'm setting it equal to 0 and solving. I add 2 to both sides. So when n is 2, we get 0 in the denominator. That's the excluded value.
So that's
Okay.
what you're trying to find 0.
You're trying to find what would the variable have to be in order to get to a 0.
Oh, that's
Because you can't have 0 in the denominator. That is, well, questions 1 through 8 say simplify. Okay, so I mean, you do have to do all the canceling and all that jazz, but then it says also state the excluded values. I will not give you 8 of them on the test. It's probably like 4 of them, but I will definitely ask that. All right, there's only 2 of them here that you have to factor, questions 5 and question 6. Like I said, there will be some that you still have to factor, quadratics, that's 5 and 6, but I'm not going to put that many so that they're all quadratics, right? You might have to factor both. I didn't look at it close. Clearly the top, though, the numerator. And then I have to remember to meet everyone else in student advisement to hand this out to them. Who has the extra ones? Let's put the extra ones.
In the back of the basket.
Okay. Or let's see, who isn't here? Anna,
Julie.
Julie,
Gary.
Gary.
who's Gary?
Gary.
Oh, Ari. I
No,
hate
they-
mask. I can't hear anything.
No, they call her
Gary.
Gary.
Oh, they said Gary?
They just
Oh,
call her Gary.
like the snail Gary?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh.
Well, she's quiet. No, Gary just says, meow.
He's like,
Not what we thought you
She doesn't look like a snail. Have anybody ever eaten snails before?
no.
They're good.
What?
Wait, that's
What's
not
he
wrong. Did you
doing?
eat them? When did
They
you
taste like mushrooms, basically.
They're nasty.
No, they're good. They're good. Don't believe her.
You just eat like a
I've eaten them before.
Yeah, but I'm
Can I
saying
give it a cut?
obviously any food can be nasty for someone, but I'm just saying don't be afraid of, if you ever get a chance to eat snails, have one just see if you like it or not. I like it.
Okay, can I?
It tastes like just a sauteed mushroom and garlic and
What's
butter.
the sauce?
yummy.
And you get these cool little utensils.
And you get a snail shell after.
And you get a snail shell afterwards.
Can we get a cut?
Can I go ask my mom if I can go to
Go for it.
Why is my brain
Yeah.
not working?
What?
My brain's not working. I don't know how to do it.
First thing we did in the job. I know. Why we're reviewing. That is what in. So that's how you figure out the excluded value.
Yeah.
But to simplify, reduce the bracket.
Any of it, I know I don't know how to do
Well, you got an M on the top and an M on the bottom. Like that, so you look.
You're not making
Well, the answer is. Now, the only thing is this is wrong. So, well, that N minus 2 I was doing. this was, so that's the excluded value. M was 0, so keep it 0, 0. So the excluded value is 0, and the answer is 3 over 2. 3 over 2 is 2. Yeah. What can go in both? 3n. So factor out of 3n. Right off the side. 3n. Open parentheses. What times 3n is 3. What times 3n is 3n squared? And 1n. What times 3n is that other? And over. Hey, look what happens. So what are you left with? Now tell me the excluded value, and you got the whole darn thing. That's how it's going. The other one is a quadratic trinomial you need to factor. What can go into 3n squared and 6n? Factor it first. Now notice you didn't have to factor, didn't have to factor, didn't have to factor, didn't have to factor, you didn't have to factor, don't have to factor. There's 2 of them you have to factor. So if you can factor, that's always step 1.
I forgot. So for this one, is it
Yeah, 0. So you can't, if somehow the whole bottom equaled 0, you'd get 0 on the bottom, and that wouldn't be a fraction, right? So we set the bottom equal to 0 to find out what the m would be in order to make that happen. And that's the excluded value. So we don't want the bottom to be 0, so we set it equal to 0 and see, well, what would take to make it 0? Well, if m is 0, then the bottom holds, so that's your excluded value. But then you have to reduce the fraction. So you reduce the fraction to 3 over 2, and the excluded value is 0. Parentheses, 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 parentheses.
Did you just cast a spell?
It is because you didn't show me the excluded value. So you set that equal to 0 and solve. Set the bottom equal to 0 and solve. But that's what would make it 0. Sorry? That's a factor. So 3n is this whole thing factor. To find the excluded value, you take the denominator. So this is step 2. Take the denominator, set it equal to 0, and solve it. This will tell you what n cannot be, which is why n cannot be the value 2. Because if n was 2, 2 minus 2 is 0, you get a 0 in the bottom. So it's always in. You take the bottom, set it equal to 0. Take the bottom, set it equal to 0. Take the bottom, set it equal to 0. These are all simple. These are the ones that we actually use. But then now the simplifying is what we do. So this is the only one where there's 2 answers. The rest are just do the operation. But these, you get 2 steps. 1, simplify, and 2, you never simplify this. Well, we found the excluded value. And m cannot be 0. But you have to simplify. There's 2 answers. Your 2 answers are 3n, and n cannot be 0. N cannot be 2, sorry. So on number 5, right? 3n and n cannot be 2. You never simplify this or this or this or this. Just simplify it. Just reduce the fraction.
And it's negative.
All right, e-learner, let me turn this off real quick. E-learners, any questions? Is anyone alive?
Anyone alive?
Well, live, L-I-V-E. No one is live. All right, I will post the test by tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock.